Pardon me, I'm sorry. Hello everyone, welcome to another live stream. Pardon me, I just got a phone call. Right as I started the stream, believe it or not. Right as I started the stream, I got a phone call. Well, lucky me. Am I right or am I right? Hi there everyone, hi, welcome. Hi, doing all moral Nadika Duck. Hi, let me switch to live chat first of all, first things first. And then, let's begin. Oh, I can see the gang is already there. So GF confirmed was a business. I'm sure it's like the stream. Even you make it, Noah. Even I'm not that vain, unfortunately. I can't. Alright. Oh, I can see the gang's all there. Hi, how you doing?
Hello. Switch to live chat.
Fuck.
I already did.
Oh shit, your old base is not creeper proof.
Oh yeah, make it. Yeah, Macaron decided to dig a hole under your all the base in Minecraft. Hi there, Acronymus.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Go right for it. So everyone, it is a live stream, by the way.
Yeah, hi chat, hi, hello, hi everyone, hi.
Is
hi,
that
hello, hi.
Acronymus with us right now? I can't tell because it just keeps changing profile picture. Alright, there we go. I guess it was Acronymus based on context clues. Right before the stream, I also burned myself. I spilled some burning ethanol on my chest. And I kind of,
Oh,
it took me
no.
like solid... Thanks. It took me like solid 3 seconds to realize that I was on fire and...
Oh wait, so it was wood burning, not like acid burning.
No, ethanol. It was ethanol
I don't know
was
if
on
ethanol
fire.
is acid or not.
No, ethanol, that's alcohol.
Ethanol is your blood.
It feels like acid inside my body.
Well, I mean, I do actually have to go now because I have work tomorrow, so.
That's fair. Well, have a good one.
Night.
See ya.
Yeah, bye.
Make it. Did you remember to top drop and roll? No, I didn't set myself on fire. I just had burning ethanol on my chest. Don't worry, I'm fine. Today we will be working, obviously, what else is there to do, and mostly we will be working on the Quotidians video.
Yes.
Also on the website and such stuff and so on and so forth. I could actually start setting it up already. That probably would be a good idea. Like start rendering and start making animations. But first we need to start with fields and rings. The fields and rings portion seems like a bit drawn in. It's not completely necessary.
Why is it fields and rings and not rings and fields?
Because I'm starting with fields and only then getting to rings.
I don't like the order you do things.
No, because the rings are a bit like simpler to. I mean, the fields are a bit simpler to explain, in my opinion.
I can see it.
That's
I don't
because
like it.
that's because with the rings, I'm over there foreshadowing quaternions by saying that, like, you know, rings don't need to have commutative multiplication, which is not strictly relevant, but will be important later on. I didn't set myself on fire. I just had burning ethanol on my chest. Yeah, there didn't. No part of me was set on fire. That's the point. People think I shave. I don't. I just burn off my hair. There's a difference. A couple years back, actually, it's a fair couple years back. It's almost a decade. I burnt like a solid portion of my face a bit. Using acetylene. Acetylene does the welding gas, and ever since then my hair hasn't been really growing on my face correctly. It's been a bit wonky, to say the least. We need that quote on stream quotes. Now we know why Mick always wears a mask. Alright, let me rename this. Chapter 1, which will be fields.
Didn't you say that you had a beard or something when you
I do. It's the hair is growing. It's just growing in a very wonky way. Fields and rings. Also a bit asymmetric on the right side of my face. It grows quicker than the left. Alright, delete this, delete that. Now, today, as I mentioned, we will be working on the quaternions. But before we get to scripting it, let's actually first... There we go. Turn off
Where
everything
are
that's...
you now?
I'm in Slovakia.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Yeah. Fields and rings, what are they? So, well, we need to start with the default, the basics, the things that we always do, which is... oh, by the way, the reason why I burned myself with ethanol is because my lighter, like, doesn't have any lighter fluid in it. So, whenever I need to, like, start a fire, what I do is I pour a little bit of ethanol into, like, a tiny candle holder thing. Then I set it on fire using the spark from the lighter. And then I use that in order to, like, set on fire whatever I need to. And so right here I have 3 scented candles that I wanted to, like, you know, get going in the background to have some nice aromas. But I couldn't set on fire with the lighter because it doesn't have any lighter fluid, so I just had to make the ethanol fire. And when I was, like, I wasn't extinguishing the ethanol fire. Instead of, I was just, like, redistributing it so that it would evaporate quicker. And when I was doing that, I just spilled a bunch. It took me like sort of 2 or 3 seconds to figure it out because on the very beginning, that's because when you have an ethanol fire, it's not the ethanol that's burning, it's the fumes. And because of that, if you have some ethanol fire on you, it does take a little bit to figure this out. And make it has a wife or GF. That's... You didn't even ask that as a question, you just said it as a statement. Scented cans of what? What? Vanilla! What do you mean weed alcohol methyl is vanilla flavor? That's the one. They smell nice. Not everything has to be drugs. But some things damn well should be. Okay, I think right now I should have everything in the basic setup done. I should change it up so that the blender starts with the correct configuration. It's annoying.
Oh, Pap is here. Hello, Pap.
Hi there.
Can't you just buy lighter fluid? I can't, but that would cost money. I already have the ethanol. I could just buy a lighter. That's another thing I could buy. I should probably. Could be useful. My Windows is dying. I don't know what's happening with it, but it's not doing well. I was like, it's not worth. Hold on, let me see. Oh, it is refillable. Yeah, it does have the hole. I guess I can. I guess I can buy some lighter gas. Yeah, I'll probably do it. I also need to buy an axe. I need it for a bit in a video, and I lost my previous axe.
Aww.
I have no idea where it is. It's so weird.
I think you have no idea, but I think the police just took it for safety reasons.
No, because I mean, it has to be in my apartment. There's no way it will be anywhere else.
Well, you managed to lose a fire hammer, so...
Yeah, I did. To be fair, that is true. I did. I have a list of things I managed to lose. A list of weapons specifically. It's not a list of. Everyone has a list of things they lost. I have a list of weapons.
Hey, make it. Someone gave me more exclamation marks than to you, which means I'm loved more than you are. Checkmate. Take an L and ratio, and I don't know.
Hi to someone. Hi, how you doing?
Did I like this mod abuse? Good. Use it more often.
Can anyone tell me, has Make It a girlfriend or wife, please? No, I don't. I don't have any of those.
Jessica.
Piss off.
Jessica! Is he dead?
Piss off about Jessica. That's unrelated. Okay. Time to do the blendering. I don't want to do stars for every single background in my videos. It's kind of a cliche at this point, but it looks nice.
It
I
can
don't
be
see the
your
problem.
signature thing. It can just be your thing.
I suppose, yeah. Space is so cool, honestly. The
Yeah.
elegance, the story of why I love space. Space is so cool, so cool, so pretty. A golden star to anyone who gets that reference. Apparently, based on what Timon said, most of you aren't old enough to know that reference. But because Timon just
Then it
doesn't
must be
believe you.
Star Trek.
Make it. Are we planning to complete the 4 Fs of life? The 4 Fs? Jeez, I don't even know one word that starts with the letter F. Get
I
your
know, but-
get your mind off the gutter. Unbelievable.
I think it's like food.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Food
As a
fly
person, I've
for
never
you
done
and
food before.
food fly for you and failure. Failure for French. Free failure
free
for
failure,
French.
yeah.
Those are the 4 Fs of life.
What you know who I are? Who would make a cute couple? Like who to?
Me and make it, obviously. What do you expect?
That is true though.
I think it is right here.
How is the progress on the other video? Make it.
That other video, yeah, it's going.
Other video.
I'm gonna mostly script it. I'm doing a lot of stuff. It's getting to me, but I'm gonna mostly script it this Thursday. That's when I'm mostly going to script that video.
I will be there if you need help.
I will, especially with the sphere geometry, because I no clue, absolutely no clue. Way above my pay grade.
I'll need to go what kind of direction you're going to, and I can do some research or write some script or something. It's gonna be a banger.
I mean, okay, the first couple are easy because one of them is just notation, another one is just. I mean, the conclusion of the video will be that like it just cannot happen because you cannot do Z6 onto C1 in a like a reasonable manner. Makes sense. Well, but that's spoilers. That's I need to leave that for off-stream conversation.
Oh, I was just trying to be as vague as possible to leave
I know.
everyone questioning.
I know, and I just wanted to leave a bit of a foreshadowing, leave everyone wanting. That's a pretty good night sky, isn't it? I'd say so. Although I need some kind of color palette for this. Let's be professional. Let's be professional and let's actually use a color palette for this video. With all nice
No wait,
looking.
what was the deleted message? Oh wait, I can actually check it.
That's pretty funny.
Oh,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's
And
kind
I'm
of funny
confused.
how Timon
And
just laughs on an inward breath. It's very,
A very Hungarian laugh,
different.
yeah, it is.
yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it other than it's a Hungarian laugh.
Yeah, it's just laughing on an inward breath instead of an outward breath like a normal person's.
What?
Are you familiar with the comedian Jimmy Carr?
Yeah, that's why I was thinking of it.
Exactly, yeah, that's kind of what it
I'm
sounds
also
like.
Yes.
Wait, they look like quarks make it. What looks like quarks? What function are you walking right now? Wait, what do you mean, what function? I haven't... You mean this? Oh, that's just for the background. I'm just making a nice looking background for the video. I'm not doing anything fancy yet. We'll get there. I just got two of the same color. Mazes.
I don't even know what magic you're doing. What are you doing?
This is an online color palette picker. It's great. You can just press spacebar to roll and just get a bunch of different colors, and then you can take them, make a color palette.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really neat. Let me just switch to 4 dimensions. Move this about a bit. And this instead.
Relativity be like. I should probably do some relativity right now. Come on, relativity. Bye.
Who is this guy with a profile picture? Oh, was that? Oh, he just left. That was Acronymus. Acronymus. I'm pretty certain that was Acronymus. I know I have streamers mode on, but Acronymus tends to not have any consistent profile pictures.
That was Acronymus, yeah.
Looks like garbage. Alright, fine. I'm gonna do a color palette of my own.
Oh my god, I'm back.
Ah,
Were you
welcome
gone?
back. We did not miss you.
I know.
I feel like I'm onto something, but I'm not really doing a great job. This maybe? Yeah, that's maybe. I'm good enough. Whatever.
What the hell do you mean that not Hungarian mythology is not existent? Get out of here. Get out of here. Get the hell out of here.
Is any notation that Timon uses considered Hungarian notation? Proved by implication.
What if it's the Hungarian notation?
I just whatever Timon writes down. You know how Timon talks? Like when you write down mathematics the way Timon talks, that's Hungarian notation.
If you do that to my physics, I will be angry. I will be throwing hands and fists. And I will drink a lot more whiskey to just cry away all my sadness and disappointment. Other than that, do whatever you want. Maybe do it to chemistry or biology. No one cares about those anyways.
That is true.
I was gonna say math and I'm so happy I didn't. I love you, Reblox, don't worry.
I'm Reflex joining right now. So give us slice with math talk. That's great.
What kind of math book are you going to give? And why do you think people want to listen?
This is rough.
I kind of wanna like somehow track Remco's whiskey consumption to see if Remco's meanness is like some kind of proportionate, like normally or inversely or just
With just alcohol
relative or-
intake.
I'm still dry today,
There is-
don't worry, I don't even have whiskey yet.
There's the that's yeah, exactly. And you've just been really mean to Reblox. There's basically a direct link of causation between the amount of alcohol Remco drinks and.
Wait,
how
you're
nice
saying
he
if I
is.
drink alcohol, if I have whiskey, I am nicer to people?
I actually think so.
Fuck.
I genuinely think so.
Maybe my real personality is the one intoxicated.
I know someone like that who's like really a really great person when they are high. Genuinely, there's for some people just drugs bring out their inner selves.
And there, yeah, man, someone is like actually like sweet at the core, but like tries to pretend that they're mean and like They can't keep up their act with alcohol.
Immoral 100. You have seen more drunk me than non-drunk me. Probably. It's like the first day in years that I'm sober.
I doubt that he's even sober. He just forgot.
Wait, am I sober?
You're probably just so drunk you don't remember.
SKS, that's an actual conspiracy that is going on around this server. So
It's
yeah,
like 5 years behind on schedule. This is bad.
MTG, Metal... wait, what's MTG?
My tough guy.
Metal Gear. It's like Metal Gear Rising, except without the rising, and the T is capital for some reason.
I mean, SKS is onto something, but like,
I
yeah,
feel like
Yeah,
that's
no, because-
invincible to Redbox. Yeah, exactly. This is... Redbox knows. We know.
I like how you both are just in a constant fight on who's more, like, miserable and a worse human being.
It's no flame.
Yeah, Flame is just chilling. Flame is fine. Flame is actually doing well. The only person
He's
who's
not a
actually
real scientist.
doing well. Flame is waking up in the morning with a smile on his face. Just anomaly.
who lets people on this server be happy? Disgusting.
New rule, no being happy.
That isn't one of the rules already.
No,
I've
but
been
there's
banning
no sleep.
people that were happy. I mean, you're telling me now I wasn't supposed to?
Whoops!
What abuse? What are you gonna do about it, I suppose?
Tell the mods.
First of all. I don't like how Roblox is proving his point by ignoring all punctuation, making his sentences like utmost, like more difficult than fucking topological
Yeah,
algebra.
that's the Hungarian notation at play there.
We have commas. Like, come on.
Yeah, and you don't use them.
Yes, we do.
I have not seen you use a comma ever. I must
Yeah.
not really paying attention.
I always use commas. Like, come on. Just look at, I don't know, random thing. Enter chat, my last message. There are 2 commas in there.
Too much effort. Reblox, you should be proud. I'm using a integral and I put a dt after the integrand. Only this once. I know he will be proud of me.
I'm a little confused and offended screams positron makes often. Yeah, positron, basically, he just doesn't have that part of the brain that's responsible for, like, speech. So instead, the rest of his brain is emulating it. No, I mean, that is true. You do, like, you're very vocal without using language. The thing is, you are bad at saying language, but you are very good at speaking without using language. And that's not even me. I'm not even trying to say. Just rewind the stream.
Oh no, I'm not listening back to myself.
Yeah, and that is the most painful part of any recording, I can confirm. I know I do this for a living. Part of my job requires me to listen to myself. It's suffering.
Relatable.
Reblox, I now fucked up by using a functional integral, so you can stop being proud of me. Thanks.
can't tell. Does this look good or garbage?
The background or the?
The
Oh,
floor.
I like it. It's giving me a Aztecian temple vibe.
Yeah, it's kind of like the kind of issue I'm going for. It's just that it kind of
I'm missing,
sucks.
I'm missing some leaves and some logs. After everything else, it's just it works.
All I'm trying to do is something that will reflect light nicely, because we need that. We need that looks in my science video, because otherwise it's just unbearable.
I mean, it's a hopeless case. It's a hopeless fight.
Maybe if I ruin the... Oh, that's a good idea. I like it. If I ruin the floor a bit, it might help. I'm good at ruining stuff, so... It's not language make it, it's Hungarian. Hey, make it. Have you played MTG? Someone, you can't just keep asking me questions and then ignoring my answers to them. This isn't even the first stream where you've done that. Last stream you got offended that I didn't answer to your question, which I did answer to. My response to your question was that I don't know what MTG is.
He responded and he said it was Magic the Gathering.
Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. This is a skill issue on you for working too hard.
Oh, it was right below when Reblax said, never mind. Okay. I did play Magic the Gathering once, but I ended up summoning a demon. Because it's a satanic game.
Okay,
Just like Dungeons and Dragons.
Wait, no, who was asking? Yeah, someone, I need you to ask it like 5 more times this stream. Make it seems to like it.
Wait, what just happened? That's not what's supposed to happen at all.
Hey, yo, double slit experiment?
Shut up.
I see the vision. Is that
It's
Ursula?
there. It's paradoxical, and yet it's true. That's the one scene I know from Oppenheimer. That's the one.
Oh, I forgot that scene. I just remember the boom scene.
Ooh, the boom scene is good.
That's very non-particle physics coded of you and very nuclear physics coded.
I mean, it wasn't really a physics movie anyways, now was it?
No, it
More of
was
a
physics
documentary.
history. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was physics history. I don't enjoy science history stuff most of the time, because really often they do end up being rather boring.
Yeah, I don't
I-
really care who exactly figured it out. Like, I'm just happy they figured it out.
I think it's neat to like know the story of them, like have it in an epic historical context and something. I don't know, I like it.
Maybe make it should change his channel to going into physics history or science history with the epic animations.
That would be so cool.
Eventually,
not
I
the
do plan
entire
on
film, but,
doing
like,
that
as
as
you-
well, because I mean, eventually I'm just gonna run out of topics to make videos on.
I think you won't. Don't worry.
No, I will, because for example, take particle physics, for example. Like, there are more videos I could theoretically make, but in practice, how am I supposed to make a Higgs boson video that, you know, people will actually want to watch? There is a level of complexity at which it just becomes too much.
Just make an interesting thumbnail and interesting title and just do it.
Clickbait.
I mean, you can at the start of a video just say, before you watch this video, watch my other video first.
Yeah, but you know, eventually the string is gonna be massive. It's gonna be awful.
Yeah.
It's just like just a whole
Education, it's called learning.
30 video. But to be fair, that could actually bring the views. Yeah, you know, neoliberal profit motive. We need that. Make a poll in chat about who is more miserable, Reblax, Remco, or Timon. I don't think Timon's in the contest.
Yeah, no.
That's just Remco and Reblax.
Or
Yeah.
make it.
But I'm not miserable. I'm fine.
massive vector. Wait, massive bows on vector fields.
I
That was the
agree.
answer someone was looking for. I know it. I can feel it in my bones. If he's saying no, I'm banning him. See? He was right. I was right. What beamer? What is the beamer? Is that the projector thing?
Social science? Sorry, I only do anti-social science. Can you make a vector calculus video, please? When I make linear algebra video, I'm also gonna make vector calculus video. Because, wait, actually, hold on. Is vector calculus like doing calculus with vectors, or is it like using vectors to do calculus? Which one is it? Because
I don't see the difference.
no, because one of
They're
them
the
is
same-
just
they're
no.
the same picture to me.
No, because one of them is like using one of them is using calculus on vectors, and the other one is using vectors on calculus. It's I don't know which you're misunderstanding. Honestly, seems perfectly simple to me.
Yeah. So what in essence you have vectors with calculus and calculus with vectors.
Exactly. Yeah, you got it.
It's the same thing. Remlux help.
Oh no, I made it
Oh,
worse.
he
Damn
wants to do
it.
it with vector fields and stuff, so he wants to go into manifolds.
Yeah, I like that service. Manifold is a pretty good service. I agree.
Wait until you hear about smooth manifolds. Topological manifolds. Did someone say symplectic? Symplectic manifolds? I like myself some manifolds. How do you pronounce his name? I'm looking if you're gonna try.
Oh, I
Oh.
will.
Poincaré.
Poincaré.
Poisson.
Poincaré. I think it's Poincaré.
Poincar.
That's how my teacher pronounced it, at least. They pronounce it as Poincaré. But, yeah. Quazo.
You should make an astrology video.
Yeah, I already provided make it a lot of
Wait,
like
which one is the real one? Astrology or astronomy? I never remember.
astronomy is the real one.
Can I ban this guy? I can move him out of the channel. I forgot about that.
No. But I'm pretty sure you can ban me though.
I can try.
You don't have to.
Both are real, naked. Why do you ask? I'm never gonna trust a mathematician of determining what's real and what's not.
Someone say determinant?
Real is the thing where the complex is 0.
Oh, Reblox. If you want to be disappointed, today we defined the inverse of a matrix with a 0 eigenvalue. I'll leave it at that. Not even in... Oh.
Magánnyugdíj pénztár. Okay, I pronounced it. There you go. Magánnyugdíj pénztár.
No, it's not what I did.
Mathematicians can comprehend those crazy numbers, but can't comprehend relations with women. That's why they have relationships with men.
Yes, my meal book.
I think I've done it. That looks pretty good. Just
It
plug
does.
the displacement back in.
Someone, why did you want me to pronounce magánnyugdíjpénztár? And just why magánnyugdíjpénztár? Like, just why? This is just so random. Like,
Ah, oh, damn it, from further away still looks like garbage.
I love myself a Lagrange intensity. They're so nice.
This does look like garbage. Oh, screw it, I'm done with it, good enough. It gets a pass.
I like it.
I don't really.
It depends on what you're trying to show, but I like it.
It really doesn't, because I mean, I can show anything on this. The only point is that I wanted to glow and have nice reflections, because, you know, neuron activation.
It glows and it has nice reflections.
a very big part of your video's enjoyment is the glowing neuroactivation.
I wouldn't even say a very big part, I would say most. Hence why I'm spending
say
so much
all.
time on this.
I don't even listen for the context or watch for the context.
Neither
just
do I.
watch for the neurons.
Neither do I.
Do you actually watch your videos after
No.
you have published them?
No.
So you're not even giving yourself the one view and you expect us to give you the views.
Of course, have you seen my videos? Of course I don't watch them.
And that's why I've only watched that once, to see if there's like improvement. If the time I'm less disappointed.
Okay, let's see if this looks good.
Like that,
It's a
there
bit
are like
pixely.
there are boing sounds in the
Yeah, the
later ones.
boing sounds are important
That was
also.
like the best part of the entire video.
That's always the best part. I like
And
the
the
thing.
spiral.
Honestly, the gif of, you know, the guy writing on fire and the text on top of like the last 5 seconds of the Hilbert Spaces video. Which is
I like the part where you're going crazy in the outro.
I should put more parts where I'm going crazy in the video itself. Does this look good?
Yep. No, someone, we can't hear you. For that, you would have to join the voice chat for us to hear you.
Number theory is about counting numbers, like how cooking is about doing the dishes. It's not. Yeah, because I mean, I can tell you that if you do the dishes, it's not a great idea, because then the police does escort you out of the Olive Garden. So I wouldn't recommend that.
I mean, I guess make it sexuality reveal because only pansexuals want to do the dishes.
Did you just say sexually trivial?
No, it's a sexuality reveal.
Oh,
Because only pansexual want to do the dishes. That was funny. Like it.
nah, that Kalawa's group is okay. That's doable. It's not even a group.
Oh yeah, so the reason why like the glowing is important is because now I can just make an incredibly mundane scene, but it will have that neuron activation zinger, which will make it actually bearable.
You can gradually increase the brightness until it just all bright and we all burn our eyes.
Yeah, just you know. Ah, perfect. Isn't it fun how Blender just lets you do whatever? Like I can just do this, and that's like legal in Blender.
What the?
Hi, Defta. Why are you looking at the sun? We're working on the astronomy video.
Roblox, I dropped out of algebra right before Galois theory, but I suppose it's like kind of like a completion. Wait, no, huh? I have no clue. I'm not even gonna pretend I know it. I will just stick with my cue.
Oh, that's actually a surprisingly nice look. Okay, so I've set up the... I think I've set up the floor correctly, and the background as well. Which means now it's time for the thing. The thing you've all been waiting for. 3, 2, 1. Ready? Okay, so text.
You know who else is ugly?
Someone just says my name and does the message. Just leaves it that.
Okay, there we go.
But what do we look up? Like, there's a ceiling. Like,
Yeah,
there's a
what's
ceiling.
on the
above
ceiling?
me. Nothing is the ceiling. It's.
Hey, look,
Like-
it says Galibu on the ceiling.
I mean, there's a moth up there, and they like ceiling lamp, and at one part of the room there's like a long plant. You know, the thing that are like snaking up on trees, like that kind of like long plant that is like snaking around the ceiling.
The scientific name, long plant.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, the long plant. Yeah, I get it. It's the
Very long
long.
plants.
Like
The easiest concept ever. How would you ever not know what a long plant is?
like, is it, I know that you know the
No,
thing that
we know, we
usually.
understand. No need to overly explain yourself. We know long plant. I have met long plant. I've talked with long plant before. He's a good guy. We all love some long plants.
I should use a different font. What is a font that has all of the letters uniform, starting on the same level?
I believe that's the alien font. Unless you
Make
want it to be readable.
Make it, you said you were gonna buy plants just so you can yell at them.
Yes, I was gonna, but then I realized how expensive they are in this economy. In this economy, yelling at plants, unbelievable.
You need some emotional punching bag, like everyone has some. Like Remco has me. You could have your plants. Yeah.
Seems very healthy.
I actually don't gain any mental benefit from screaming at you.
That's just Remco's version of charity walk. He does that for free.
You're that useless. You're not even helping me by bullying you. Hmm? From the path integral. I love myself some path integral.
Okay, Catman might be onto something. I'm just everyone's like emotional punching bag at this point.
Emotional only.
Well,
This.
you all of that you are like in different countries, so like
Yeah. So,
like
you thought about spiritual punching?
Hell, make it big fun
Mid-
here. We kind of seem to be walking towards the same of a very similar mathematical construction. I was wondering if you could refer me to academic literature. Because I've had a really hard time finding it. I've been writing some myself, trying to find a very interesting result with connection to all kinds of mathematics or physics. Google Scholar, LibreText, looking it up usually works. I would say that finding scientific literature isn't difficult. Confirming the validity of the source is a tad more difficult, but not really. Basically, there's a lot of information out there. It should be pretty easy to find what you're looking for. Always go for PDFs.
Just add PDF or open source after your search bar.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. There is something about PDFs. Whenever I see them, it's so much better than anything else.
If you see PDF, you just click. There is no.
Yeah,
other-
exactly. You just click on it right away. It's instant trust. My brain doesn't even register the things that don't have like the PDF little label when you look stuff up.
SKS. I highly recommend not using that name. Second, Remco is the original.
Who's Max?
Who is Max? Unless it's the one communist guy, but I believe he's called differently.
No, that's Marx.
Well, we both have the art in common. What can I say? I just like myself some Karl Marx. Karl.
I mean, would you walking towards the binary video on the previous? Oh, the computer science video. Well, in that case, most of my research actually, I do it simple enough. Simply because the upside of computer science is that it deals with computers, which means that you
He's onto something.
can just like use computers to test it out. That's how I usually do it. I just literally test things. I run programs in C with different inputting the literal values to just confirm if what I'm saying is true.
Because you have absolutely no idea of what kind of mental image you just put into my head, and I hate you for it, and you will hopefully never understand why.
Yeah, please don't share it.
Who's Max? What do you mean?
We still don't know.
Yeah, that's one of those things that only Timon knows.
No, make it is supposed to know, make it just forgetful.
I'm supposed to know who's Max? Wait, you're getting me really confused, and I'm losing my mind right now.
It sounds like a dog's name, honestly.
I was gonna ask Catman why they are throwing me under the bus, but I realized that's like Catman's whole thing. So yeah.
Oh, okay. That I was the entire time I thought you meant like a person, and I was so confused.
Yeah, because some people referred to Catman as Max, and I recommended them not to do so.
It took me the entire time I thought you meant like it was some kind of person on the server, because it's all started with someone comparing Remco to Max.
Yeah, exactly, because they keep calling Catman Max, which is
Max is doing well, yes.
How do you write out the functions and solve problems in your head on paper or in program of a website? Make it. How do I write out? Well, that's simple. I just write them out. When it comes to doing problems in your head, you just over time you gain intuition. Depending on what you work on, you just gain intuition for that thing. So, for example, I imagine 90% of problems that Remco is solving, he doesn't even consider to be actual problems because he just developed such an intuition for them that for the answers are obvious. So
Oh
that's
no, I need 3 plus 5. I'll write that down on my paper.
yeah, but to be fair, I also need 3 plus 5. 3 plus 5 others are just everyone needs that. I'm saying about
9 or
like
something.
specific intuition. In my case, I do have a really good intuition for functions. I have a great intuition for functions. That's because I treat anything in Blender as a function. And because of that, I can operate on them really well. So that's just intuition you gain over time. That's how you do it in your head. When it comes to writing them out, well, I mean, you just do that. Foreshadowing.
SKS. That's a painful question because I love physics and chemistry all the same, and I went for physics at uni.
Why are you answering it?
Really
That just said, how does Remco avoid accidentally researching chemistry and
oh
researching
yeah,
physics?
I'm not answering it. I'm not answering it. I'm just saying some random shit that
Oh,
came to
because
my mind.
the answer is simple. Remco does theoretical physics.
Anything
That-
I research is by definition physics. Even if I research chemistry, it's just physics. They just
I don't even think
don't
you
know.
would be capable of like researching chemistry. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think
like
you
if
could
I
accidentally
research
research.
the hydrogen atom or something, like the closest thing to chemistry I can think of, it's still physics. And if they claim it as chemistry, then fuck them for doing something wrong.
Even emotions physical. I mean, the thing is theoretical physics a science? Now that's a question.
It is not. It is just mathematics with spice. It's not a science. Only experimental physics is real science because it has like experiments and stuff like that. Like if you remove the like aspect of conformation with reality and like does this even model our universe, then like it's not science anymore. Yes, I have been heard by theoretical physicists, and I take it all out on Remco. How did you guess?
Do you? Because it seems like Remco has been scarred by a Hungarian and is taking it out on you.
Oh yeah, just because Remco's taking out a lot more on me than I do on Remco doesn't mean like it. I don't take out anything on Remco.
Hold up. I want to ban some people. They're being mean to me. They're being mean to theoretical physics. I'm not even gonna defend it. It's just their fault for being not very intellectual. I get more smarter, they would know better.
The number one non-denial coping mechanism.
What do you mean denial? It's true. We both know that. I mean, there's only one A in theoretical, and not on the place you're putting it, Catspan.
I wanted to say share this in the physics channel, but I realized that you would just delete it here, so I'm just gonna. Oh, wait, you can delete it anywhere now.
Anyway, has
No,
mod permissions.
no, I'm gonna share it in a channel that you don't have access to.
Yeah, so I can't read it, so what's the point? I'm happy there's something about me. Also, I wouldn't just delete it, I'm not like that.
Theoretical is not a science, but
Oh,
it's a
really?
science in the archaic definition. That's quite a curious thing to say. Certainly.
If you say you wouldn't delete it, I'm just gonna share in the physics channel.
I don't do molecular and chemical interactions have no impact on any study in theoretical physics. The studies in theoretical physics is exactly what the molecular and chemical people are stealing from us.
I mean,
We are doing all the studies. They are just stealing it and doing it in real life.
but
Oh no,
Well-
they're stealing your physics and make actual science of that.
Actual science. Hold up. Be gone. Oh, he's back. Welcome back.
do molecular and chemical interactions have no impact on any study in theoretical physics? It's going the other way around, because basically molecular and chemical interactions aren't. Molecular and chemical
what I just
interactions
answered.
are just an abstraction of electron interactions, basically. Molecular and chemical interactions are effectively just like electromagnetism with a tad bit of particle physics. And in order for you to get electromagnetism and the particle physics, that's what you get. That's what you use theoretical physics for, to create models for these. So the reason why molecular and chemical interactions have no impact on any study is the same reason why players in video games cannot change the source code. I hope that analogy helps.
Thank you. For putting it so nicely where I could not.
I just keep thinking that there might be a better analogy, but I can't come up with one yet.
It's good to know if it's a skill issue if they don't understand.
So we already figured out theoretical physics that level chemists operate on. There is nothing more to figure out there. No, but no. The theories that chemists use, they are based on theoretical physics. The only difference is that they are like abstractions of it. So basically, also that depends, because Flame is a chemist, and Flame is using quantum mechanics for a lot of things. So
I'm telling you, they're stealing everything. But then again, we're also stealing from math, so what can I say?
Remco is just the kind of mathematician who is like, oh no, scientists are stealing my math and using it for actual science.
actual science.
Like, every mathematician is like that, so.
You know, mathematicians should be happy that this stuff is being used for something useful.
Yeah, exactly,
The
that's what I'm
biology
telling
people
you.
and the chemistry people are just stealing.
Okay, I think I have a good way to explain it to you. Basically, when you say molecular and chemical interactions, let's tie a specific example to it, okay? That example will be methane. So we're gonna have,
Oh, here we go again.
imagine a tetrahedra of atoms. Yeah, I call it the carbon, same as hydrogen, doesn't matter. The point is that it has a very funky looking orbital, right? The sp3 orbital. Now, the thing there is that this is the molecular interaction you are describing, right? So the s orbitals and p orbitals becoming sp3 hybridized. That is the interaction you are describing. However, this cannot have any impact on the underlying theoretical physics, is because the actual theoretical physics is just saying that you have the wave functions describing the electrons, and their interactions create basically a new wave function. So you have the wave functions on of these different electrons, you combine them in some way, and you get a new wave function. Now, the way it goes in science is that this would be as long as this gets invented, right? Right as this gets invented, that's theoretical physics. The reason why it's in the name is theoretical. It's not practice, it's creating a new model. Then based on that model is usually really hard to apply in practice because it's theoretical. It's really difficult to do stuff with it, and so then it becomes simplified in some way. In this case, that would be just removing the quantum mechanical annoying bits and simplifying it into a system of the molecular orbital theory. Which means all of a sudden you don't have an electron with a certain wave function distribution in space, only you have an orbital that's an S, orbital that's a P. And then these orbitals combine in some way, theoretically there will be more P's, doesn't matter, these combine in some way to create sp3. Now the point there is that no matter how much research you do with this model in mind, it will never be as good as the underlying theoretical physics, simply because this is theoretical physics except oversimplified. So that's why no matter how much molecular theory you study, you cannot come up with some more theoretical physics because you're doing it the wrong way. We're going from the bottom up, not from the top down. It's I keep trying to come up with an example that's difficult. This is the example, I guess. This. If you would like to do, well, this wouldn't even be theoretical physics completely, because, I mean, we already have practice for that kind of. This would be a tad more practical particle physics, I suppose. The pure theoretical physics would be something like adding a new theoretical particle of gravity, for example.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree with you. I was just reading the new question, and I think the question answers itself.
If that's true and chemistry is like an abstraction of theoretical physics, why does theoretical physics have so many unsolved problems but chemistry feels more complete? Because in chemistry, those problems are ignored. That's why. Don't think those problems disappear. How can you... you can't build something advanced with an incomplete foundation. You very well can. We have been doing it. That's just objectively true. That we have been doing it.
Unpopular opinion, everything in physics is on an incomplete foundation because we can't measure as significantly enough.
I mean, that's first thing. Another thing is that we literally don't have a theory of everything. I don't think there could ever be a name that's clearer enough, or a sentence that's clearer enough that's more clear than we don't have a theory of everything. It's in the name. It's incomplete. We don't have a theory of everything. So you very well can build on something with an incomplete foundation, and that's why chemistry is so famous for having so many exceptions. The reason why chemistry has so many exceptions is because the rules are oversimplified. So for example, consider this. Consider the following. When you have, when it comes to types of bonding, you have ionic bonding, you have covalent bonding, right?
That's a thing.
And then you have metallic bonding. All of these use different theories in chemistry. Technically, you can treat covalent and metallic the same way, because you can't treat both, but the bands are a bit different. You don't usually do that. You would treat them differently. Like, all of these are different kinds of bonding. So in chemistry, you needed, if you apply the ionic theory to metallic, you'll get nothing. If you apply metallic to ionic, you'll get nothing, because right here there's no localized electrons, and so on and so forth. In physics, however, well, depending how deep you go, these would be the same thing, first of all. That's really easy, because electrons with electromagnetism on a small scale are pretty well understood. And I'm pretty certain with nuclear physics, you could make all of it. You could fit all of it on the same blanket. The counter problem, however, is that it's really difficult. The whole thing of, we can't simulate a helium atom with 2 electrons, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the limit. Or was it 2 helium atoms? So that is... so theoretical physics is basically the most complete description we have, and everything on top is meant to simplify it in order to make it usable, to make it practical. Pun very much intended. He said the thing. Distant from a 3D animation to a live make it physics video. These animations are still rendering in the background.
So what, Duck? What do you mean we have a like theory of it? Like, no, we don't. We literally don't.
We don't have a theory of everything. Theory of everything unless you trust Remco, which you shouldn't. He's drunk. We don't have a theory of everything.
I'm not even drunk right now. Haven't even started yet, I think. Well, and we don't have a theory of everything. I will just readily admit that.
Yeah, I know, but it's funny like with the gravitons, but
Even the gravitons are not a theory of everything. Even
in a way,
string
no, in a
theory
way they
isn't
would be
theory of everything.
because the theory of everything is combination of quantum relativity and gravity, isn't it? Like, comically enough, if I remember correctly, theory of everything isn't actually theory of everything. It's just a theory that would be able to combine gravity, relativity, and quantum mechanics.
No, that's actually the grand unified theory.
Oh, I'm an idiot then. I'm sorry. I'm mistaken. Well, that's on me then. It sounds like the more abstraction, lesser the unsolved problems. No. No, because you simply cannot do that. If you have... if you have an unsolved theorem in mathematics because of some one annoying part, like imagine it this way. Basically, you have a function, okay? You have something like a function square root of x on the number line. Then in the positives, it's very nicely defined. It looks like this. However, in the negatives, it doesn't make sense. So if you don't have the theory of complex numbers, if you don't know that complex numbers exist yet, then what you would do instead in physics is you would just ignore this. If you don't have complex numbers, you would just ignore that and instead just focus on the right part. And therefore, then in physics, it would just get abstracted to just this. The square root of x would be just this curve in the positive. That's kind of how abstraction works. You just ignore all of the unsolved bits because you can't abstract them in any meaningful way. And the same thing happens from physics to chemistry. So it's not really, that's survivorship bias. It's not really that abstractions lesser the unsolved problems, it's that they just ignore them because there is no workaround. What else are you to do? What would be a good example? Oh, one good example, well, good-ish. Let's call it a good-ish example. Is an abstraction the opposite of generalization? If you come across an exception, just make a rule for the specific case. Well, yeah, and once again, that's why there are so many exceptions in chemistry. That's precisely why there are so many annoying exceptions. A pretty good-ish example would be the fact that we don't know the mass of elementary particles, of quarks, for example. We have a really good guess, a bunch of really good guesses, hence why those darn physicists just keep wanting bigger and bigger particle accelerators.
No. We want that to find stuff.
And also just figure out the mass. I've seen it because I can see I can see when you'll update the masses of particles, okay? When I was working on the particle physics video and like, oh yeah, the mass of quark updated a week ago. No, we totally need this particle accelerator to like...
about the masses. It's enough digits. It's fine.
Dump! Oh my goodness.
I mean, yes, implicitly we care about our masses because we need to go to higher masses to get to the graviton. But we don't do it to update the masses, you know?
Stump. Donation number 102. There we go. $9, right? Yeah. There we go.
Did you?
I'm pretty certain I need to do this.
Everyone in chat, take an example of Stamp. He's being a hero.
Damn it! I forgot what is the name of the file. dbpy, of course. Don't mind my shittery file. That's not important. Import pi sort data.
Okay, SKS, that's pretty mean. Like, first off, pretty mean way to put it. Second, bold of you to assume that physicists actually solved it and don't just cry about it and get drunk.
That's exactly what I'm doing. What are you talking about?
269, there we go. Chemists
Yeah,
just
but
shove
like-
away the unsolved problems as exceptions of rules while physicists actually try to solve them. I mean, kind of, but I do agree with time that you're putting in the pretty mean way. Chemists just cannot solve these problems inherently, simply because if they were to solve these problems, they would just be physicists. If you need, like, if you're trying to change the underlying physics underpinning chemistry, then you are a physicist. That would be the difference. There we go.
Also, it's not entirely true that chemistry is like a field of a complete field. Else there would not be any chemistry people left. Chemists.
Chemists.
Chemists. English is hard.
Why is it pinging me? Oh yeah, I've seen this before.
What's happening? Why is
Great
Sailor pinging you?
context.
Oh my goodness. Okay. This is because of protests. They're on the side of the police, by the way. Did you notice that? I would just like to mention.
I mean, that's just how the photo is taken, but like
The Batman is literally standing on the fucking police truck. What do you mean?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean Batman is part of the
Okay.
police. It's invasion.
yeah. Also, I've seen like videos of like Turkish protests when Pikachu was running from the police. Like, this is not the first image of
This is not the first image of Pikachu running from Turkish police.
Okay, but in this case, Pikachu is holding the Turkish flag, so
yeah,
it's not in your
protesters.
favor.
Protesters tend
Hold on.
to hold their own country's flag because they are protesting for their country.
If the government does the same, then what's the problem?
Like, if protesters didn't like their country, they wouldn't protest to make their country better. Like, yeah.
Fair.
So obviously there are gonna be country flags at the protest.
I still want you in a Pikachu hoodie? Not hoodie. Cape? No.
Costume.
Costume, thank you.
Well, don't stop talking now. I'm still not ready.
What are you doing? He's cooking, chat. He's cooking. I just recovered Einstein's famous equation.
What did you do again?
What do you mean, what did I do again?
Like, what did you do?
Oh, I just quickly solved harmonic oscillations in quantum mechanics and recovered the dispersion relation. And by
Ah.
coincidence, it was just Einstein's dispersion relation.
Yeah, that sounds like something you would do at a random Tuesday night.
Yeah, I did it in 2 lines.
That's actually pretty impressive, though.
Nah, it's not.
Then I'm just newbie.
It's just Fourier transforms.
Mm.
It is okay, it's doable. I do like to harm some oscillators, yes. I'm harming all of them. I need their dispersion relations. I need to extract their Fourier modes. They are mine. Fun fact, each Fourier mode has its own dispersion relation. So there's just not one Einstein dispersion relation, there's an infinite amount of them. And who doesn't want an infinite amount of Einstein's dispersion relations?
I can just see like Remco being sick of people but wanting to bully someone, so just starts harming oscillations.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm back.
It was better when you were away.
That's why I came back. Can't have it be
Thank
too
you
good.
for
You know?
making. What? 1 second. Fluctuation. That's a weird word. Why do you write it like that? Why do you write it like that? Fluctuation. That looks so weird. Weird mode for fluctuation seems to be a particle.
Where
Each
are
of
you?
those infinite amount of Einstein dispersion relations are also particles.
Where
So
are
we
you
have an
reading?
infinite amount of particles.
What's your opinion on what's going around the world? Well, as a YouTuber with around 60,000 subscribers, I am an expert on the topic. So allow me to give you my unbiased and completely just, reasonable, and absolutely accurate take about the state of global geopolitics.
Atmosphere?
To begin, chapter 1.
Atmosphere. It's atmosphere.
And the moon, like the moon goes around the earth, like no, yeah.
As an American, we don't have protests, we have freedom parades. Parade is such an unintimidating word though. A parade.
The protests are unintimidating too, like
Protests
Okay,
are more intimidating. The only problem is that y'all just don't do the good old protests that people used to do. Oh, when were the days when instead of just going out on the street and like just I don't know what y'all even do on the street, just standing there, okay, or walking. Remember the days where people were sabotaging train tracks, disrupting supply lines, just sabotaging telecommunication network.
You can't
Those are
destroy supply
effective
lines.
protests.
You can't destroy supply lines if there aren't any supplies.
Communism is necessary. We need communism. Not communism, communism. I agree. Protest nowadays, honestly. Lost the spirit. Back in my days.
I'm also disappointed that this city is still not burnt to ashes, but like
You have such a nothing ever happens mentality. Just standing around and asking, oh, when is gonna someone burn the city down? Well, everyone is asking around and everyone is just sitting and asking around, oh, when is someone gonna burn the city down? Honestly, unbelievable. Stop focusing on what other people do and be the change you want to see in the world. Hi there, YouTube demonetization team. I would just like to mention, we joke around here a lot. And whenever I mention these illegal acts, I don't mean it. Everyone understands they're just jokes, okay? I just wanted to say that.
It would be so much more believable if you didn't have this mischievous undertone in your voice.
Me? No. What do you mean?
I don't think
gotta
make it
hand
can
it to the
speak
French with effective protesting. That's what I'm saying. Like, say what you want about the French, but French are doing it right.
I don't think Make It can do a voice that is without mischievous undertone.
I just am with mischievous undertone.
No, it's rare.
In my opinion, communism breeds autocracies. Well, I mean, it's not really all that much of an argument because a lot of different ideologies breed autocracies.
Democracy breeds autocracies. Like, come on, everything breeds autocracies.
Yeah, and we all live on this planet just to die. Doomerism. Great.
Oh, it's not wrong, is it? Just to die and drink whiskey in that order.
Remco is a vampire confirmed.
No,
I have vampires
Whiskey's
famous for drinking whiskey. That's the famous characteristic of a vampire. You know, the
But you
thing
have
that they
lots
drink,
of
whiskey.
whiskey.
I don't know, like there was a joke like a month ago or something that Remco is a vampire and I just regurgitated it.
That was a joke?
I'm pretty sure.
I was part of this?
Yes.
I was the joke?
Yes.
Back in my
Oh, that makes
case.
sense.
Capitalism breeds autocratic governments as well. I don't think we should focus on that. Well, I mean, okay.
Behold.
I don't want to get political. I shouldn't get political, should I?
Make it would like to speak.
I would say that instead of focusing on precisely what about capitalism or communism, I think we should focus on the fact that centralization breeds autocratic governments, which kind of obvious, since that's the extreme of centralization's autocracy, which is actually why it's so annoying, because you want some centralized system of government and laws, for example. You don't want a couple of different institutions to create their own laws. You want a centralized system of laws. But at the same time, the more you centralize, the closer and closer you get to autocracy. So I see your argument that communism breeds autocracy, since communism historically required a lot of centralization from everything. And with capitalism, it goes a similar way once... with capitalism, it's a bit more shady, simply because it's more like a cycle of the... Oh, what's the name for it? Hold on. The goals, basically. Where if you want to make more money, at some point, taking over the institution, like a realization that the system is in itself part of the system, is what breaks down capitalism. But as I mentioned, communism also has the problem that communism requires centralization. Do you think EU will be aligning closer to China and autocracy after the change of policy in the US? I do think that EU will be aligning closer to China, but I don't think it will be aligning closer with autocracy, since that's kind of the whole point of EU. Don't like autocracy.
But then why do they keep Hungary around?
Because I'm pretty certain when they added Hungary, it wasn't yet autocratic.
No, but why do they keep them around?
Okay, how would you remove Hungary, Timon?
An
I
accent.
don't know.
How?
Just nuke it.
What do you mean how?
Well, I genuinely am asking how, because I don't know if you know about this, but in the European Union there actually is no mechanism for removing a country from it.
You annex it.
Yep,
What do you mean annex it? Wait. Are you all just suggesting war as a solution? Well, that's a great idea. Hey, war in Europe, that has never gone wrong before, has it?
You just peacefully take it. The problem with Russia is that they weren't peaceful while taking it.
Remco, no more. No. From now on, you can only talk about physics. That's it. I am taking away your speaking rights. Why
Rightfully
can't
fucking so.
why can't Hungary just leave? Hungary can leave, but Hungary doesn't want to leave. Because
They
Hungary
enjoy the privileges.
Hungary is a very, very nice position.
Like, make it Remco actually has a point. Like, I wouldn't mind being invaded by the Dutch.
You also don't have any political
Yeah, you also don't have any
You-
political say in it. You're not exactly politically active, Timon. No, unfortunately, you don't really have much of a say over if your country gets taken over. Because, like, you would be okay with it, but how many people wouldn't be? That's the question. EU has no EU-based ways of removing members. Exactly, which is the big problem. There's, you cannot remove Hungary. There is one thing that you can do, which basically effectively removes Hungary's voting powers. However, in order to do that, every single other country in EU would have to agree.
even Hungary.
No, not Hungary, actually.
No.
Every
Oh.
single, because you're removing their powers. Which is a problem because in the past, Poland shielded Hungary, and from now on, it seems like Slovakia would be shielding it.
Yeah.
Hmm. Alright, but what if it like turns even more Tyranian like? That's probably
Like,
not the word, is it?
Not gonna get into details because like I'm pretty sure nobody here cares about the details, but like Hungary is on a like very fine line at like just painfully close to full on dictatorship. That isn't
Another idea
Like,
would be to integrate Hungary into Austria. Didn't some guy already try this?
Is that how World War One started?
No, so it ended with like the splitting them back into two. But the Austria-Hungary existed for like centuries or so. Like
Oh, the
that
good old times.
Nah, I remember those times. Those were the days.
I would love to. I would love to be part of like Austria over Hungary. So yeah.
Wait. Yeah, that was good. That was good times.
Like, I don't care if the Austrians would be oppressive towards us because they wouldn't be as oppressive as the current leadership is oppressive towards Hungarians. So like, please, I wanna be oppressed by anyone else.
But I'm totally not the bottom though. That's like I know you don't. I know you didn't want me to say that, Timon, but like you set it up so well. I'm not even gonna apologize. You did this to yourself. You cannot say I wanna be oppressed and just get away with it. It's not something you can do.
That's not what I. That's not what I said. Like, I prefer not
That's
be
exactly
oppressed.
what you said.
I'd prefer to not be oppressed at all. But like, if I have a choice, which I don't, I would prefer to be oppressed by Austria rather than being oppressed by Hungary.
Ah, yes, CC.
Yep.
No, everyone wants to be oppressed by CC.
Given that EU doesn't have means to stop fascism from rising, it's a bit of yikes, but not surprising given that... No. EU does have means to stop fascism from rising. You see, the thing is, fascism, when it comes to fascism, it's a very narrow and specific kind of autocracy, and also really often, if you want to... I don't think really often, I think every single time. But basically, if you want a fascist government, you need to delegate some kind of people as enemy, right? You need some people to be at the enemies that you're trying to get rid of. And that's really difficult to do if you are in the EU, simply because then the entire EU is pushing against you. That's kind of like a body fighting its cancer. Inside of a country, it can work really easily because you just say, "Oh yeah, we want the Germans to take back the control of Germany and get rid of all the non-German people." So inside of the country, like that kind of populist messaging could maybe get across well, but on a European scale, then it's like all the other countries seeing Germany being more and more against them, and those other countries then can stop it. So it's, I think, against fascism, EU can actually work pretty well.
That's very cute, make it, but like one of the main propagandas of Orban is like EU is taking away Hungary's. EU is trying to decide on Hungary, and like EU is just bad, and Brussels is bad.
Did you just not hear what I said? What I said is that fascist governments require precisely that kind of rhetoric. They require the country to say that the EU is bad. However, if you are part of the EU and if you say that the EU is bad, then the rest of the EU will just treat you worse, and you are at a significant disadvantage.
Nothing happens. Literally nothing happens. Like,
nothing ever happens.
Hungary has been doing this rhetoric for years now, and the EU did absolutely nothing about it.
Nothing ever happens. Hold on, I'm looking for the. There we go. That's the meme. Nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. The Timon guy. Says nothing ever happens. The history teacher. I vote to dissolve the EU into East and West Europe. Why? Maggie, would you accept UK to EU if it applied? Yes, I think so. I think the more countries in the EU, the better. But at the same time, I do believe that EU should be reformed to be more democratic. If EU just abolished the veto power, I think most of the EU problems would be solved. Because then Hungary would be hit with sanctions, and there's nothing they can do, because all of a sudden they cannot blackmail the rest of Europe with a veto.
We tried that dividing in East and West in Germany.
It didn't work out well.
And the West was very rich, so I am a pro of this plan. As being a part of the Western Europe.
Yeah, I don't know if you also remember that it was kind of division into two spheres of influence. So if you want to say that you want to be more aligned with America, I mean, good for you, I suppose.
Back in the day, there was a nice America. In America, that would like come to your aid and stuff, and would like have nice trade properties and niceness in general.
I'm just waiting. I want Canada to join the EU.
I was just gonna say I just want to side with Canada.
I don't. Not only do I want to side with Canada, I want Canada to join the EU. I really do.
It would be so fucking hilarious.
It would be so funny. It would be so funny. I think you should add a stronger glow to the text. No, I just need to add a splash of color to make it proper pop.
North and South.
North and South won't have the East-West issue. North and South division of the EU is such a banger idea.
We would literally get like fish against pasta kind of division.
Wait, doesn't veto mean ability of a member state to reject a proposal? By taking away veto, wouldn't you make EU more autocratic and centralized? No, because if there is a proposal, consider this. Consider the fact that if there is a proposal that every country in the EU agrees with, but Hungary disagrees with, then they can just use the veto power. That's not really democratic. Like, imagine if you had a rule in the government that says that a law can only be passed if 100% of the people agree with that law.
It will never get passed.
Yeah, nothing will ever get passed. That's not really democratic. That's autocratic for the establishment.
Unless you say,
or for the people who
pass
disagree.
Something corrupt. Like every person voting on this gets like $1 million out of the government fundings. That will get passed.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a great idea. We should give everyone $1 million.
I would suggest this in the Make It government.
No. That's only for the people in charge. People in charge get $1 million. People not
Exactly.
in
That's
charge.
what I wanted
yeah,
him
yeah.
to make it government.
Yeah, people not in charge pay for the $1 million.
Exactly. So how many
Isn't
people
it
do we have?
That's just Patreon.
Just Patreon, yeah, that's how it works.
Thanks, Timon. I still want my $1 million though. Actually, not dollars. Fuck dollars. We don't support dollars anymore.
Yeah, we need
Good.
euro.
Euro or pound or whatever. That isn't dollars. Canadian dollars. I will be okay with Canadian dollars.
They should change the name to the Canadian pound, you know. That would be a
think-
banger.
Oh, the
Agreed.
Canadian. I would like 5 Canadians, please.
That's illegal. You can't do that anymore.
SKS, the only problem is that is Slovakia wouldn't join because Slovakia and Hungary are supporting each other in that shit.
Every country you propose this one only harms Hungary and benefits everyone else. Veto power is important for true democracy. But that's not really what's happening. That's really not. Like, for example, let's say, hypothetically, that a country outside of EU gets invaded. Something like, I don't know, just a random stab and dag, Ukraine, for example, right? Hypothetical. Let's say that it gets invaded by another country that Hungary is pretty good chums with. Let's say, I don't know, one random stab in the dark, just randomly picking Russia. Let's just say, hypothetical. Now, it would be in the interest of everyone in Europe, okay, to help Ukraine, to try to stop Russia. Why? It's because if Russia invades Ukraine, then it's gonna keep going to Europe and so on and so forth. However, if a certain, I don't know, Hungarian leader, right, was good friends with Russia and generally liked Russia's money, then any kind of attempt at helping Ukraine could be stopped by Hungary. And then it's not really every country in the EU trying to do something at the expense of Hungary. It's just every country in the EU trying to help Ukraine, but they can't because Hungary stops it. You wouldn't
That's
feel
such a smart system.
you wouldn't feel safe to join the EU as it was proposed on you. That takes away national autonomy. So at that point, you are trying to take away its statehood with its consent. What do you mean you wouldn't feel? I would feel safe. I would feel absolutely safe. Listen, what you are saying implies that you should that I should trust the government of my country more than European government, which I just don't. I don't. The thing is, I dislike the fact that whenever people propose these arguments, they always treat the governments of countries as if they are perfect, and the governments of like continents as if they are evil or something. Not really. If you want like an easy example, ask Timon if he's satisfied with the Hungarian government. Trust your government more than EU because you elected your government but not EU. What do you mean you elected your government but not EU? You did elect the EU's government. Who do you think elects the European government?
I do, personally.
They're not appointed by our lords and saviors from a distant planet. They are voted in. Should it be more democratic? Yes, it very much should, and I support the motion to like reform Europe. But they are like voted
Also,
in.
I fucking
Indirectly.
didn't elect my government. Like my government was elected by fraud and the propaganda, like mostly propaganda, but also like I fucking didn't elect my government.
I will not trust the government, period. I think that's a fair stance, like not trusting the government. I get it. It's good to just be vigilant in that kind of way. But I just don't get the argument of trusting the government of a country more. I really don't see that. The more layers hierarchy representatives have, the less democratic the system is. Okay, I see your argument there, but then why do we need countries? If you want to go that way, shouldn't we also remove countries and only keep 2 cities?
Yes. Wait, I thought you meant the other way around.
Well, I mean, the way I would like it is I would like to
Continent.
like remove as much responsibilities from the country scale as possible and shift it either to a municipal portion or the European portion. That's what I want. So, for example, with healthcare, you could have a continent-spanning regulation, but each city could have its own implementation, that kind of thing. Why not just Hunger Games or something and see what happens? We should try that.
That's a good point.
Cities didn't function very well in the classical Greek period. However, cities greatly developed due to decentralization. Well, if that's what you believe, that's fair, but there are certain issues that we would need continent-spanning collaboration to work on. For example, I don't know, climate change or keeping peace, not having just countries or cities in this case kill each other, or like standardized trade. That's also important. Even the mundane things. For example, you want train tracks to have the same size across the entire continent, and for that you would need some kind of authority that would enforce that, and so on and so on and so forth. Which, like, yeah, not everything,
really
not everything should be decided by the European continent simply because that's also dumb. But I just don't see the efficiency of countries. I think countries are a very awkward size. They are too big to actually represent a population well, but they are too small to actually have any like large spanning effect. I think countries are
Speak
just.
for your own country.
I am. I very well am.
My country is like small and compact, and it's still too big. Actually, good point. I agree with you.
Like the difference between the government of Amsterdam and the government of Netherlands shows it pretty well. Seems like EU should remain as a union, not centralization. Forcing something through centralization is not as democratic cooperation by choice. Democracy is more valuable than efficiency. What do you mean remain as a union and not try centralization? So, okay, could you give me an example? Because maybe that's the problem. Maybe I'm misunderstanding you. So, for example, like, what could the European Union do? What is the difference between a European Union versus the centralized European Union, or whatever you want to call it? So, what is the actual practical difference? What is the European Union without forcing? That's what I'm looking for. Your country being small and compact implies every Cauchy sequence converging within it.
Speechless. That's a good comment. I hate it. It's too good.
Veto power existing is decentralized. Taking away veto power makes it more centralized. That is just not true. That doesn't really have anything to do with centralization. What's more, having veto power could very well be centralized. For example, right now, most of political power is centralized in Hungary because of its willingness to use their veto power.
I hate this. Well, not the country, but the government.
I sometimes like to write something in chat just to like get close with the people, with the common folk.
The peasants.
It's like going outside from the balcony and waving.
Danny, the veto power. Damn it, we always get political right after I say I don't want to get political.
Yeah, like you say that I don't want to get political in the kind of way that an alcoholic person would say that they shouldn't drink more and then just.
I just like to imagine that as you said it, you slowly turned away, like you were looking right at me when you were saying it, and as you were saying that sentence, you slowly turned and looked at Remco.
And I slowly turned and looked at my whiskey. I don't see the problem here, guys.
In US, each state doesn't get veto to do any central proposal, if I'm not wrong, which is more centralized than current EU, where any member can veto. That is true. EU, like the US, is more centralized. However, I don't believe it's due to the veto's power. Basically, here's the thing. Allow me to put it to you in a graphic form to explain. Imagine the government as layers on top of each other. These layers would be on different scales. So you have the EU level, then you have the country level, you have the whatever portion of the country, Bundestag, whatever. Then you have the city level, and then some kind of even more local level. Now, what centralization is basically moving those powers upwards. That's kind of one way to think of centralization. You could think of many different ways, but you could technically also move it anywhere. That would also be kind of centralization. But by definition, that's you centralize something. You put it in a single spot. What I want is I don't want the EU to have all the powers. Instead, what I want is I want to move the country, the responsibilities of a country to either the EU level or downwards. Simply because this means more efficient, this means more powerful. Ideally, you want something to be... Yep, what you were saying?
What is the B?
The B, Bundestag. I don't know what the name for it changes over in countries. Doesn't matter.
What a
It's like
Bundestag.
province.
It sounds like a German word.
I don't know.
Duh.
I don't know what that is. Honestly, no clue.
Yeah, it's like a big state. Well, not American state, but like European
I
state.
have no idea. We're getting sidetracked. Now,
You're getting sidetracked. You were doing.
you said it. You
science.
said no. I'm still rendering in the background. I'm still waiting for this to render. I'm not getting sidetracked. Actually, you're sidetracking me. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that that's centralization. Removing the veto power, however, doesn't have to change any responsibilities of the EU. All it does is it makes it more democratic because more countries agree on the proposal. For example, let's say that one of the... let's pick a trivial example. One of the responsibilities of the EU could be standardizing. So creating standards that the entire EU has to follow. So once again, let's pick the railroad tracks example. Let's say that we have a railroad track of 4 meters. And we have 26 countries in the European Union that want to change it to 3.5 meters. And you have 2 countries in the European Union that want to keep it at 4 meters. Okay? The numbers don't matter, I know, but just for example. You have this sort of thing. In that case, the veto power is keeping it in place. However, I wouldn't exactly call it democratic because the majority of countries do not get what they want to do. They cannot do what they want to do. The majority of people, in this case, the majority of countries, have to follow a rule that a minority agrees with. That's why the veto power isn't really more democratic. Like, you keep focusing on those countries, like, oh, those countries shouldn't be forced to follow rules that they don't want to. But what about the other ones? The other 26 don't get to. And you can't just say that, oh, well, those 26 can just do it, because that's not how it works. You can't have a standard that's not standardized. There are certain things that every single country needs to do in order for them to work. If you have it flip in just one place, then the plan will not work at all. So, demolishing the veto power isn't really less democratic, it's in certain ways more. Make EU less powerful than individual members, give more autonomy to members. In your example, the other ones can just leave if they want. But the point is, if you, as a country, want the train tracks to be 3.5 meters, then yes, those 26 countries can leave, but then you don't have a standard. This is just mutually assured destruction, except on with way smaller stakes.
I feel like the veto should count for like 10 votes and not a veto.
But that's not a veto, that's just called voting.
Yeah, but no, like, Like, yo, guys, I'm vetoing this, but doesn't necessarily mean I'm winning the vote. It means I am putting 10 votes in instead of winning it.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like in this example, 26 versus 2.
Yeah.
If one of the two vetoes, it would actually make a 26 versus 11 instead of the
You don't
two-
have to do it this way because that's already how voting works. Because sometimes you need different levels of majority to change different things. For example, in most countries, in order to create a new law, you need something around 50%, but in order to change the constitution, you need something around 66%. So for different things, you need different percentages. Democracy over standardization. But the system you're proposing is not more democratic. Because in this case, most of the countries do not get what they want. That's not democracy, that's the opposite. If you have a system in which less than 10% of the votes can actually count, that's not democracy. I think you should remove veto and add an 80% majority. Exactly, Immoral, that's what I'm saying. Except I wouldn't say that 80% majority, only I would say that it depends on what you want to change. Like it works in every country on the planet, basically. If it doesn't exist, the proposal can happen without your approval as a member state that decided that no country can leave the union. That ends all autonomy. You're picking an extremely wild example. And that is kind of your problem. You're picking examples which are too hyper-specific and too imaginary. And in order to understand that, allow me to give you a counterexample. Where do you live? Where do you live? Because I need that example to hit close to home.
Only tell him if you ask him how old make it is. Rock and roll.
There is technical possibility, there is no right to avoid it. But you'll see why a technical possibility... Kazakhstan. Okay, right. I'm assuming that means Kazakhstan, I'm assuming. Or unless there is a country of Kazakh. I'm not great with geography. Imagine if in your country, all of a sudden, there was a vote that basically says that 50% of the citizens, randomly selected, should pay 300 higher taxes, whilst the other 50% shouldn't pay taxes at all. In that case, the people who will get tax exemption can vote for, and people who don't want the tax exemption can vote against. However, if the people who will get the tax exemptions are like 55%, for example, then they could win the vote. So that's not something that happens on the European level, that's something that happens in any system of democracy. That's how any democracy works. That's not an EU unique thing. That happens anywhere on the planet. And that's why that kind of technical possibility is so, well, silly, for the lack of a better word, because that's not unique to a continent level. Happens everywhere.
That is such a smart idea from a government perspective.
Like, that's populism. That's what happens. That happens in the nation level, but we don't want to happen at a union level as well. But this is mind-numbing to me. So what you're saying is that, allow me to understand. What you're saying is that you want to give up standardization, progress, and all of these nice things simply because you prefer the side effects to happen on a national level instead of the continental one. So basically, you want to give up all the nice things because you don't want to get punched in your face from the right, only you want to get punched in your face from the left. Because to me, there is no difference between if a country is oppressing me or if a union is oppressing me. To me, there is no difference. What is the difference? That's why those technical examples of like, oh yeah, veto power is important. Well, the precise reason why we don't have veto power on the country level is why veto power is actually pretty terrible in this scenario. The bigger the entity, the more the problem I point out. I just simply disagree. I don't know what else to say. You do not understand how scaling works. Exactly. That's just simply not what happens. Okay, do you think that there should be veto power on a country level? Where, for example, in order to pass a new law, you need 99.9%. Actually, hold on. Let's do the maths. Uh, 1/27th. 0.03. Oh, sorry, that's not 99.9. That's 97%. Do you think that a system in which a law gets only passed if 97% of people agree with it, do you think that's a good system? Because if you can find me an issue that 97% of people can agree on, I'll be impressed. Sorry, no, that's over, by the way. That's over. Because technically in Europe, 100%. Lower taxes. No, most people, actually, in my experience, most people do not agree with this. Maybe it's biased because of people I interact with, but most people don't agree with lower taxes because they understand that lower taxes come at a cost.
I feel like most people would actually agree with this because they don't have the capacity to understand that taxes.
I love how whenever I say that, everyone always says, "Oh yeah, I feel like most people will agree with this." I mean, everyone I asked says that they don't agree with this, but I also feel like most people would agree with this. People just like to pretend that they are smarter than they actually are, and everyone else is more of an idiot. Whenever I ask people, like whenever this kind of topic gets brought up, then everyone always says that everyone would probably want lower taxes. Because they just assume that everyone else is an idiot. That's so mean. I wanted to end politics discussion, not fuel it. I'm sorry, Orify, but my animation is rendering in the background, which means this is the only thing I can do. That's a good system as long as change can happen at lower levels. Give more autonomy to the lower levels. But that's what I'm saying we should do. What do you mean? There are just certain things which cannot happen at lower levels. For example, if you want climate change legislation, you can't have it on a citywide level. Or even not even climate change, even past that, pollution standards. If you have a city that fights against pollution because, I don't know, you don't want your citizens to get cancer or something, then your regulation will be meaningless as long as the city next to you doesn't do it. And that's the problem. That's the point of regulation. The thing is, you treat regulation... Give up some to be more democratic. But, okay, the freedom to swing your fist ends where my face begins. Actually, the pollution is a great example. Let's leave with that. Imagine that the entire European Union wants to create stricter pollution standards. Okay? So 97% of people, of course in quotes because Hungary is autocratic, but let's go with this. 97% of people in Europe want stricter pollution standards. 3% don't. With veto power, they will win. And the crucial thing is that 97% of people will be hurt because of the decision of 3%. That's the actual problem here. Everyone walked towards... If it only affects some, it's their problem. Well, that's a rough thing to say, first of all. Autonomy along the responsibility to deal with their problems. A good historical example, give me a second. Because that's a great way to kickstart a prisoner's dilemma that will kill millions of people.
I'm in.
Of course you are. Which is the entire thing we want to avoid. This is just the level of extremism that I find illogical. You want perfect autonomy, but that's just not how the world works. Your autonomy will impact other people, which will diminish their autonomy. Now what would be another example?
Someone mentioned inflation. I know a great inflation theory.
Why can't you put into words why it's bad? Well, I already did. You just disagree with it, which honestly, I don't know where to go with it, because, like, saying that, oh well, if 97% of people decide that they don't want pollution, then they have to suck it because 3% of people decide that they do want pollution. I don't really know where to go with this. I really am struggling to go where it is. It will impact others, but they are already given autonomy to deal with it in their system. Where do you draw the line? Okay, in that case, let me ask you a simple series of 3 questions. First of all, you have 2 people. Okay? First person with a gun shoots another person. Do you think that that is an example of the first person reducing the autonomy of the second person? Because they shot them.
That's a nice drawing.
I know I'm an autist. Forcing anything on anyone isn't good. But still, my question stands. Would you consider that to be forcing someone on another person? Forcing something. You're forcing, them getting shot on them without their consent. No. So you think, okay, not gonna lie, not the answer I was expecting. So you think if I shoot someone, that's not impeding... Okay then, would forcing someone to do something under the threat of violence impede on their autonomy? Because, not gonna lie, and last time I checked, the way that laws work is precisely by limiting people's autonomy this kind of way. I don't... If they are given freedom, they should use it to defend themselves. Okay, so if 97% of people pass a law that forces 3% to agree with it, why shouldn't the 3% just use the right to defend themselves? You do realize that, like, those 3% could just break the law, right? You do realize that's a thing. It would be breaking the law, obviously. What just happened? Timon?
Yo.
We're just...
Sorry, I forgot to mute myself. Never mind. Just ignore me, please.
What you're advocating for isn't democracy, it's called anarchy. Which, I mean, if you want it, that's fine, but don't call it a democracy, because it's not. It's called an anarchy. Because the law makes it a free man can't veto. Legally restricting them is not good, because breaking the law is something outside the scope of discussing laws. I am so baffled by your argument. In your view, shooting someone is not restricting their autonomy, but passing a law is. Blender better than After Effects for animation, for 3D animation certainly. 2D animation as well if you use it correctly. I'm telling you, let's just do Hunger Games. Let me put into words. Scholars can defend themselves, no one can force them not to. Yeah, but you know, people who... The 3% can also choose not to... Because, okay, couple of things there. First of all, no one can force them not to. What do you mean? Yes, they can be forced not to. They very much can be forced not to. Your argument, your entire argument relies on the abstract concept of force, where you can force certain people not to do something, but you refuse to acknowledge the fact that that requires a mechanism of enforcement. So in your view, you kind of need to accept that enforcement is restricting autonomy, but at the same time, you're trying your best to not accept the fact that that mechanism of enforcement is by itself restricting, doesn't require a law in order for it to work. Like, in your view, if someone goes to prison... Yeah, exactly. Basically, I have a great example. Basically, in your view, if someone breaks a law and goes to prison, right, then that is the state restricting their autonomy, which I agree with. The matter of is the law justified or not, that's irrelevant. The point is that that's the state restricting their autonomy. However, if a person was to kidnap another person and put them in a room, then that wouldn't be restricting their autonomy because the prisoner had the opportunity to defend themselves, which there is no difference. It doesn't matter if a person is restricting your autonomy or if a state is, because in both cases, that's someone restricting your autonomy. So that's the point. The reason why laws exist is because of compromises. Basically, everyone wants as much of an autonomy as possible. However, the freedom for you to swing your fist ends where my face begins, which means we decided that, for example, murder is illegal. Why? It's because it sounds good on paper, but such leads to anarchy. Exactly. Basically, you need to avoid going to extremes when it's really easy to go to extremes when discussing politics and such things, but it's always dangerous. World is a complex place. We should never oversimplify it, because oversimplification leads to people just blindly trusting capitalism, blindly trusting communism, blindly trusting certain institutions. And blind trust in anything is very unscientific. I will lead the debate of whether it's good or bad to, I don't know, morality police or whatever, but the least I can say that is very unscientific. And the problem is that it's really easy to skim over the complexity by having the simplified example without realizing that complexity is still there. And as such, laws are a compromise. They always will be. We made murder illegal because we all like the freedom to be alive more than the freedom to kill people. It's always a compromise.
Speak for yourself.
Well, I mean, if I'm not don't mean to be that guy, but if you like freedom to kill people more than freedom to be alive, then you can still go and kill people. Like even if you get the death penalty, that shouldn't matter to you, should
Yeah,
it?
but that would be ideal option. Like if I get like 60 years of jail, then that's less ideal.
If a suicide
Unless they-
exists, I mean,
Unless they have physics books and whiskey in jail, then it's an option. Would they?
and I don't think they would have whiskey in jail, but physics, yeah.
Yeah. I need my whiskey, man.
can do physics without whiskey. We're not animals.
So yeah, technically, I value the value of whiskey more than I value murdering, the freedom of murdering. I suppose we get there in the end, all of us, just in different ways.
And that's not what I meant.
Murder is fun.
Can't confirm.
Can't confirm.
That's
I-
what a murderer would say.
Well, no, I wouldn't know. How am I supposed to know?
I wouldn't know. Maybe ask about all the people in your basement, or well, fridge at this moment probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't know, officer. That's murder is my least favorite activity.
It's so sad that it still has to happen.
Addition, subtraction, division.
I am going to
Mhm.
sleep.
Well, so bias, it is
Aw.
guaranteed that we'll always
Um,
come up with. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Guys as well. Enjoy. It's been a long stream already.
Sorry, got sidetracked. About your point, since human minds are inherently biased, it is guaranteed that we will come up with a system that is inherently flawed. How do we decide which system to pick collectively? That's where democracy and autocracy comes into place, because those are the systems, right? Based in different systems, you would have different ways of deciding. However, about you saying that human minds are inherently biased. Biased towards what? Because you can't just say biased. That's meaningless. Or at the very least useless. Because everything is biased. And also another thing, system that is inherently flawed. In order for you to say that a system is inherently flawed, you need to assume that there will be some kind of system that is perfect, which I also reject. I don't think there exists such a thing as a perfect system. Simply because we don't have a definition for a perfect system. Alright. I like the color walk on this. The bluish the yellow pops nicely on the bluish greenish background. So basically, imagine like a network with nodes connected by. Oh my goodness! I need to make geometry nodes for this. Oh, I remember now. Oh, this is gonna be difficult. This is gonna be really difficult. Like a network of nodes connected by lines. Basic idea here being that... Shucks, that's gonna be really difficult. What we need to do is make like a network, which we'll do by first introducing a bunch of empties, circles. Okay. Now, geometry node editor, and let's walk. First of all, let's try selecting all the circles and creating perfect sim is where the McDonald's ice cream machine works. That doesn't exist. Or if I get real, come on. We're here to talk about the real stuff, not pretend. So here's a question. Here's what we want. Basically, we want object info, icosphere. Can I do a get object by name? Blender geometry nodes get object by name. Why did you change your old channel description? It was amusing. That's because I reached out to a bunch of different people and to see if they would like to collaborate with me on the videos, and I needed to change it to seem more professional. How to get object name? No, that's the opposite of what I'm trying to do.
Wait, you changed it? Oh my god, you did.
No, I'm looking for it all. Hold on, let me see. If Shift A.
I don't know. I like this one better. It's more accurate. And it still has humor to it.
I don't even remember what I changed it to. I'm glad you like it, I suppose. Geometry covers this point of simulation material of group layout. No. Ah, shucks. What we want is something with object as an output. Get object by name. Or get object ID. There's no way I can just do string. I refuse to believe this would. Yeah, exactly. Damn it. This is tricky. Because the collection info gives me nothing of what I want. Unless Unless it could. Unless it could. If I could somehow capture the position of it right here. Get position. If I could somehow capture the position of each instance. This is tricky. This is really tricky. Actually, no, wait. So we have instances, which give us the instances. If I do this, then nothing happens. Okay, great. Take it back. Oh yeah, because I didn't plug in the network, did I? Still nothing happens. Okay. Okay. Repeat some action in the current iteration. Repeat zone. No, that's easy. Repeating object. Longer path. That's just many possible object attributes. No, damn it, these are all basic. That's not what I'm looking for at all. Oh, this is gonna be tricky, certainly. There's only self-object. Just not what I want at all. I could just add all of them, I guess. Just like every single one. That would look terrible. Absolutely terrible. Also, an array could be convenient then. Shucks. Shucks. Yeah, I mean, this works, but that's not what I want at all. Damn it! Basically, we have a name of an object. However, we cannot pass that name into the object info node in order to get the info of an object. Simply because, oh wait, hold on, this gives us things. Index switch, group input, menu switch? What's menu switch? Oh, that's huh. Huh. That's a maybe. That's certainly a maybe. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Kind of dumb, but certainly a maybe. I wish there was a more elegant way. Someone do it perfectly recursively. But if not, then this works. And now, how do I switch between them? Menu. I should have looked at what the node does before using it, but menu switch. Blender. Menu switch node. Menu switch node outputs one of the inputs. Depending on menu selection, only the input that is passed through the node is computed. I'm sorry, is the variable type just output? What's happening? Oh, index. Index switch. Okay, not geometry, only object. And now we just need to repeat the whole process. That's great. That's splendid. All right. All right. All right. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now it's time to fill all of them with empties again. Wish there was an easier way to do it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a 10, like this. Then plug it in, and then take this, plug it as the index. There we go, we've got it. It's dumb, it's really dumb, but it works, which is all I can wish for, honestly. So there we have it, there we have it. Now what we need is we need to cycle over every single combination of them, and then create a link. Well, not every single one, maybe, because every single one might be a bit of an overkill, but certainly create a link between as many as possible. Or we could do it with another repetition where we select the closest one. Ooh, that's a possibility. Okay, so this is gonna be quite a complicated node tree, which, to be fair, most of my node trees are. Hi, The Swim. Hi. Welcome.
Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm not even gonna.
For each one, okay, how are we going to do this? That's the question. Let me have a sip of coffee beforehand. Let's think. For each one, we want to repeat over them each time we set an index. Okay, first let's start simple enough. And that is just connect the two together. So let's cylinder, and let's make a node that connects two of these together using a line. That should be easy enough, simply because all we need to do is just take object info, let's do empty one, empty, and wait, not empty, empty. Oh, we added one too many. Oh, fine, whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't get selected anyway for wacky reasons, so I guess it's fine. Empty one, empty two. Now, what we want is create a cylinder that connects them together, which means join geometry, transform. Then right here, we take the location, vector math, compute the distance between these two, plug it into the depth. Make the radius smaller, there we go. This computes the distance between them, which sets it as the distance. When will you get back to making physics videos? I never stopped. What do you mean when you get back to making physics videos? All the time I make physics videos, computer science, mathematics. I
You're
haven't...
doing less physics, like the last two were computer science.
Yeah, I mean, right here we have computer science, practical, and then quantum mechanics?
The last two were computer science. And the last quantum mechanics was basically mathematics.
That's what quantum mechanics is. What are you expecting me to do?
Yeah, but like it was way more mathematics than quantum mechanics. Like,
Yeah, but that's what quantum mechanics is once you get into it.
yeah, but like the previous two quantum mechanics weren't that mathematics.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you mean? The previous one was about the wave function. That was just also
Yeah.
mathematics.
Yeah, but not as mathematics as the third.
What? No, that entire video was just about the function.
Yeah, but it was still I don't know. It felt less mathematics. Also, like your last two were like computer science, so I understand the concern.
My last one was computer science. My second to last one was practical.
Still computer science. Like it's like you're saying, "Ooh, the sulfuric acid one wasn't chemistry. That was practical. Like that was still chemistry. Like just practical chemistry."
Did I do it correctly now? That's the question. It looks kind of right-ish, but it's hard to tell. Let's select another one. So 1 and 2. Oh, that's why it looks wrong. It is wrong. Y and then transform. Time for the guesswork game of which combination of values will give me the correct result. And the answer will appear to be... Good question. The answer will be a really good question. I'm pretty certain that was the one. Like... Oh, it was like this, correct? Oh, well... There you have it. Done and did it. This gives us the thing. Yup. Wait, you said you changed your channel description so you look more present for collabs. When you can expect your first collab video? Funny enough, I already done a collab in the past, in the ancient past. I've done it with Harry from Scrap Science. I've made a video about chemistry back when I was still learning chemistry. But I don't know, we'll get a collab video as soon as one of the people that I wrote to replies to my email. As soon as that happens, I'm working on the collab video. But I don't know how long that'll take. There we go. Now we can select any two things and make a link between them. What's more, I'm going to set material white for the link because it will look nicer. Now what we need to do is for each node, I want it to connect to three. Oh, this is gonna be painful. For each node, we want it to connect to three closest nodes, which is especially annoying because we don't want to double up on connections. Connection between empty 2 and empty 3 has to be the same as connection between empty 3 and empty 2. Oh, how to do it, how to do it. Number file. Number file is maybe, but doesn't number file just isn't the whole point of number file that he just goes around asking different mathematicians about different math problems? Because I'll be honest, I'm not much of a mathematician myself. That could be a bit of a pickle. Hey, that's a maybe, I don't know, we'll see. Let's make a completely separate repeat zone, and for now, let's just do a bit of a simpler thing where we just connect this right here, delete this, and this object and the other one like so, join geometry. Yeah, there we go, that's kind of. Let's have set material yellow as well to the points. This is rough. Because I don't know exactly how to implement it. Because there's no way to check if something has already been fulfilled. Unless there is a way to check. Oh, I think I just got a eureka moment. That's because we could do another repeat zone. And basic idea will be, for each one of them, we iterate 10 minus this many times. And in this iteration, so we need another thing, which is check distance and then find closest distance in the list. I'm fine, I can figure this out. So basically, it will be a bit of a mess, but fortunately only a bit, so it could be worse. Yeah, basically the amount of connections will increase as we go on, but hey, who's counting? All right. Here's what we need. We need a node that finds the closest connection, or a node tree that finds the closest connection between a given object and the entire rest of objects. So repeat zone 9, math add 1 right here, we started 1 as well, and then we basically want to go over the entire thing and pick the position of the object that's closest. It's fine, I can figure this out. That of the object that is closest to another object. So right here, let's pick this to be just empty 1. And empty 1 is this one, and we want to figure out which one of all of these is the closest to empty 1. Which means we pass in the location, I imagine. Then we check the distance between stuff on the list, between the current thing on the list, vector math distance between this and this thing, and then we save that distance. And then another thing is mix vector we save the bottom one right here. If the current distance is smaller, than the previous distance, then we save the new one. If not, we save the old one. And then all we do is just draw a line connecting both of them. In which case, this actually shouldn't be between objects. This should be between... should be between the positions of these objects. Right. So now we plug in this position. We plug in this position. We connect it right here. Damn it! It connects to 0, I see. Oh, because it starts at 0. No, let's... what happens if I bring it just crazy up? Oh, the distance also starts 0, so if I bring the distance crazy up and this crazy up, does any of that work? No, what happens if I bring this to 2? Piss. No organic chemistry tutor. I do. I have seen a couple of the videos, yes. We can make a great video together. That's a maybe. We'll see. Hi, the Thar. Hi, welcome. How's it going? Is it going well, other than the fact that everything here just completely ruined?
Yeah, I wanna die too.
Distance between the... Oh, because I saved it incorrectly. It should go right here. Well, that's not correct, but at the very least, it's something. If I select it 2, it just breaks. Good, it's good. Is it because I started with this location? Yeah, that might be why. The distance we want to compare between these two. That's almost... It refuses to acknowledge that this one and this one exist. And that this one exists. 2, 3, 4. It's not working, but it is doing something. It is doing something at the very least. Alright. That's good. It's better than nothing, I guess. I might need to scrap this and start over. Because it's a bit too ruined, too messy. Repeat zone. Okay, let's think about it logically. We want 9 iterations, because this amount of iterations minus 1. Let's do it step by step. This will be our iterator, and for now, let's go over every single one. Get the position of it, output it, and that position right here. Right now what it does is connecting... That's curious. There we go. Now it's connecting between 1 and 10. Yes. That's because we cycled over every single one and we reached the end. We have the location. Now what we want is instead of this, we want to also calculate the distance, vector math distance, between the current selection and the object we want to select. So we save that distance right here at the bottom. And for now it's normal. But now we want to overwrite our vector only and only with, so first let's do like 10,000, 1,000 each. We want to override that vector if and only if the distance we were calculating, we already have the past, we have the current. If the distance between the current and the origin is less than the current between the previous and the origin, then we want to... Timon, what are you doing?
I'm rolling around, like spinning around in my chair. Like spinning, like in a spinny chair, the chair that spins.
Hi there, Greg. Hi, welcome. Now, if this is less, that's when we want to override, which means mix. We want to add this value if it's smaller, otherwise keep the previous one. And the same thing goes for our vector. This one, if it's smaller, otherwise keep the previous value. I am incredible. Are you all seeing this? There we go. I am just magnificent. Read the name. I'm magnificent. This is the things I get. This is the things I get. And there we go. There we go. Oh, that's truly incredible. Where did you get the money to play Doom? Patreon, yes. The Doom was cheap. The charity was expensive. Why did you need this? Because I want to make like a network of nodes. So right now, what we have is we have the object. So actually what we can do is we can actually make this into a group that just takes in the... I mean, can you like, I don't know, stop just chewing on your microphone?
Spin a chair, chair that is like spin, like me, because positron have spin. Yeah. I'm tired. How did you guess?
Okay, there we go. Now what? Now that we have this, we can select something. So out of this we can create another thingamajig. That will generate a line between 2 points. And so right here we're gonna have just math, actually value rather, like this. Should this always be 1? No, can always be 1. Why can't it tie to the... Oh, because right here we need math, and then this also needs another output, which is like... an integer, actually, not a value. And this would has to be the maximum. Subtract this. Add 1. This is correct if only it didn't connect to the center as well, which... 8? 8 seems to work just fine, actually. Yeah, 8 seems to work just fine, which means just, what, this? I don't know, let's see if this is correct. And right here, actually, integer. Okay, so this massive thing creates a line between the closest points, which means now all we need to do is create a repeat group. Yet another one, another repeat zone. This time with this on the inside. Join geometry. And this thing, and math, add 1 to it, like this, like this, like this, and then plug that bad boy in. Obviously you can't go over this, but let me guess, they are... No, they shouldn't be. Something isn't working. 1, 2, 3 connects nothing. Okay, we created 2 connections. Now the third one... What about the third one? Let's move it around, see what happens. Only 7th walks. There we go. Wait, no, that's still correct. Take it back. It's still proper. If the closest one... No, that doesn't make any sense. I must have done something incorrectly. The node is only for like aesthetic purposes anyway. I'm spending a lot of time just for the sake of making it look nice. Oh, I didn't plug this in. Oh, whoops. There we go. Fixed. There we have it. We have the nodes. Now the only problem is... Damn it. Now the only problem is... that we want more than one connection. And this causes all sorts of hijinks. I'm fine. I can figure this out. I'm smart. I can figure this out. I'm clever. I'm clever. How difficult could it possibly be? How do we make multiple connections? Well, we obviously do it by taking this, copy up, pasting it. I said copy. I forgot I need to do it manually. Doesn't move otherwise. Taking this, and then right here, truncated modulo, like so. Plug that in instead. Now we should be able to increase. Okay, never mind. We cannot. Right, because we need to add one. No, in fact, we do not need to add one. Well, the best way to go about this would be to get them to be out of order somehow and then try it again. Because the whole point is that right now it can only go forward. Which means what we would need to implement is some kind of offset right in here so that it gives us, that it offsets the position. Which means instead of treating the best one, we treat the second best one. But how do we get the second best one? Without too much recursion going on. Because if I do recursion, I don't even know if Blender will let me do recursion. I shouldn't do recursion because that's a splendid idea on to mess everything up. Basically, we want to take this. This tells us like the closest. Then in order to pick second closest, what we need to do is we need to copy that zone. Actually store named attribute. Let's store it as the closest. Or C1. We save that attribute, and then we do the exact same thing again. Just repeat it. This one going into the integers. This one going right here. And then this one going right in here. And right in there. Okay, cool. So we have this. Except right here we add an additional requirement that it has to be less than the previous one. And it has to be not really close to, or actually not equal to, the previous value we've got. So I guess we don't need to do that, we can just do this. And then this should, if I'm not mistaken, provide us with a second connection. Let's see. Right now between 0 and everything, that's correct. And That looks correct. The only difference is that the size, obviously... I don't know why this one is firing off to infinity. That does look correct, though. Oh my goodness, it's annoying. Okay. Okay. We have the nodes. Great. No idea why this one is firing off to infinity. To the thousands, I imagine. We can try to fix that, I guess. Isn't this a bit much for just aesthetic? My videos are 90% just aesthetics. I need to keep them in mind. Okay, yeah, so it is just keeping the original one all the way through. What do then? What do? Oh, what do? Oh, because there's only one option. Right. So right here, all we do is we switch geometry. If distance math is less than 100, fixed. Absolutely not fixed, but let's say that it's fixed. Now the nice thing about this is that right here, if we want to amend it in some ways, for example, add 2 additional nodes like so, then all we need to do is get in here. 1, 2, 1, 2, empty 11 and empty 12. And there we go, except on top, this is still struggling for some reason. Oh yeah, right, because the amount didn't change. See, look how nice it looks. Doesn't it? It's just splendid, great. $12, $13, and $14. Cool. We can move them around a bit to make this a bit more varied. Because the amount of connection does increase the further we are in the node tree. Which means that this, for example, would probably... Oh, get in the center. There we go. You can't even see the FPC. Yeah, because I am going to replace that text. That was kind of the point. Which means right now we can do 350. And we can take all of these empties, keyframe them, and then just have them come from off screen. Actually, we could have them come from around if we do it correctly. That's going to be a bit tricky to do though. This might end up looking like a complete mess. Let's see. I like it. I'll be honest, I like it. Right here, it will be a bit different because there will be more light on the corners than normally. But I can just fix that by slowly transitioning everything. 260, let's remove the fields and everything by 280. And there we go. Okay, I think that'll be it for today's stream. That was fun. We did do the thing I was supposed to do, which is good. We did walk, which is splendid. I'm gonna go just to work on the video some more, obviously. And hopefully I'll get a solid portion of it done today. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Anyway, that was fun. 3 hours. Really good. It was the video about quaternions. That's what the video will be about. And for now, I suppose that'll be it. Thank you everyone so much for watching and have a great day.